Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today I want to talk about this TikTok video that ended up going viral on Twitter of a woman in her late 20s talking about how it is difficult for her to find love, find relationships, and she's watching a bunch of other people in her friend group who are already married off, have children, or people who are getting married, and it's kind of one of those always a bridesmaid, never a bride kind of situations. However, I do think it speaks to a broader thing that is going on in our culture, and that's what makes it worth talking about. Also, there's a lot of people who immediately piled on and attacked this woman, and while obviously she is a character in her own story, she is somebody who impacts how people perceive her, and thus she is partially responsible for the situation that she's in. I find this to be completely unproductive, ridiculous, and absurd on a bunch of different levels. Now, we're going to get into this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who signed up over at actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
And remind you that this show is available in podcast form. Spotify, Apple, and Google's podcasting platforms. The link's in the description.
Quick question. Are you f***ing kidding me? Like, I am so sick and tired of just everything right now. Everyone is so quick to say, stop doing this, stop thinking like this, stop telling me I'm wrong.
So right off the bat, I just want to point out, I understand why people had a negative reaction to this particular video. First and foremost, this is that weird popular on TikTok format where you're ranting in your car or laying out some kind of emotional situation that you're going through on social media for the world to see. And I have to be perfectly honest, I don't want to see it. However, this is incredibly crucial. If she did not do this, then we wouldn't have something to discuss, to talk about, and all of that. But I do understand that people see this and they think, well, there are reasons why this person, this personality type, is incompatible with a bunch of different guys that she would have met throughout the course of her life. However, I do want to point out a few things that should be working in her favor. Now, obviously, she's in her late 20s. We all understand to a certain extent that it is easier to find somebody if you are a woman, if you're an attractive woman, if you're in your mid-20s, all the way to your early 20s in comparison to your late 20s. However, the internet tends to have this perception that it's totally impossible for women of this age group to get married, to find somebody, but that's just not true. But it is true that a lot of these women want men with no kids or want men who have their career set up, and in reality and actuality, those kind of men tend to have already been paired off, or they're looking for something else. So that is a real thing. We all understand that. But one of the things that I found to be quite compelling about this particular video is that this woman is taking in advice from all different directions, and at a certain point, so many tips can be overwhelming.
I have literally convinced myself at this point, based on everything that everyone's telling me, my therapist, my family, my friends, that I'm just doing everything wrong. I'm healing wrong. I'm thinking wrong. I'm training wrong. I'm doing relationships wrong. Everything I do is f***ing wrong. And I'm so sick of it.
Now look, there is a lot of truth to that. Now I will point out very notably that she has her therapist in there as one of the people that are giving her advice. So obviously that indicates some issues that this person is dealing with that obviously might make her less ideal of a romantic partner for some people out there. But overall, this is a woman that's trying to take in a bunch of different various people's advice. And at a certain point, it's just too much. And honestly, we see this with guys and gals in our modern society. When guys are having trouble meeting women, people say, well, go to the gym or get a better job or become 6 feet tall or all these other different various things that oftentimes aren't very helpful for those individual men. And this is one of the reasons why we see a lot of men age 18 to 29 almost completely opting out of the dating market. This is just the other side of the coin right there. Now, one of the reasons why I'm actually more on this person's side is because I do think it is important to understand, not villainize the other side of this equation. And I see a lot of people doing things and attacking this person as if she's a political or social commentator, when in reality and actuality, this is somebody who posts fitness videos on TikTok, and isn't really engaged in the broader cultural conversation or broader cultural debate. So to me, the idea that we're going to nitpick this person, or worse, what I've seen, take this woman out of context in order to attack her, is a little bit absurd. And a perfect example of something that was taken completely out of context is this clip right here.
It's literally not about anyone else. It's just about me and what I want.
Now, when I pointed out that a lot of people who are attacking this woman should be happy that she's saying that she wants to be married, this is her goal, this is something that she's interested in, because this is something that a lot of people on the right have been talking about, that a lot of women want all along, people kept sending me that little bit of excerpt of video saying, look at her, she's saying it's all about her, and that's exactly her problem. But the problem with that particular clip is that it's totally out of context. Let me play you the full context so you can understand why I'm kind of sick and tired of people just attacking randoms like this on the internet.
Stop comparing. It's not even about comparison. Like, I genuinely just want love in my life so badly. It's literally not about anyone else. It's just about me and what I want.
Did you spot the difference right there? Because people were saying in the slew of bits of advice that this woman was getting that she needs to stop comparing herself to other people, stop comparing herself to friends. And she's saying, I'm not comparing myself to my friends. I'm not comparing my situation to their situation. I'm just talking about my situation. That's the meaning behind the, oh, it's about me kind of thing right there that people, again, are ripping out of context. And by the way, this isn't the first time that this particular woman has done this particular style car rant on something that is going on in our society. There was another one that I found scrolling through her TikTok that did not go viral, that essentially made the case that it is incredibly difficult to live and function in the economy, and she was talking about how broke she is trying to function.
Okay. Am I the only one? Because I feel like I can't be the only girl in her late 20s who is absolutely just drowning. And like life is just kicking the shit out of me. Like, am I the only one? I've never been more broke in my life. I've never been more single in my life. And I feel like I'm doing all the right things to like heal and grow and do all these things that my therapist and my friends and my family have been like harping on me to do to like improve my life, and I just can't get grip.
So again, to be clear, while there are definitely, obviously, contributing behaviors and personality types coming from her that lead her to be in this position, in reality, in actuality, she is speaking to something that is in fact real, and rather than just attack this person and then slice portions of the video out of context to go after her like she's a political enemy, we should acknowledge that yes, there are problems, and both sexes do in fact experience those problems. Again, men in this similar age that many women like her, we're not saying her for sure, but many women like her would not date, have completely opted out of relationships because they've given up. And the way that men tend to give up is they tend to abandon the whole game board rather than just try to participate.
I feel like I have done so much work on myself. I have built a beautiful life for myself. I'm happy with my life where I'm at, my job. I'm successful. I'm independent. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I take such good care of myself. Truly, the only thing I'm missing in my life is someone to enjoy it with.
But here you have this woman who is putting a lot of her energy into trying to find somebody, into trying to better herself from somebody. And I don't just mean emotionally bettering yourself by going to therapy or all that cheesy stuff that honestly has the impact a lot of times of backfiring, but actually keeping herself in peak physical condition. Again, scroll through her TikTok if you don't believe me. It's just not working for her. And this is incredibly sad for our society because we're in a situation where a bunch of different various women want to be married. They're interested in relationships. And on the flip side, there's a bunch of men, many of whom, to be perfectly clear, a lot of these women are not interested in, that can't make that connection. And this is one of the things that's destabilizing our society, in my opinion. Now, people talk a lot about how Zoomers are divided very politically. Men are trending more conservative, women trending more left-wing, and this on its own wouldn't be a problem, but for the fact that left-wing women or left-wing people in general are far more likely to exclude right-wing people from their dating pool. They're much more bothered by that. They're much less willing to participate in those relationships, and that bifurcation is what we're seeing on display right here.
And I'm so sick of waiting. Like, when is it going to be my turn? What more do I have to do to fix myself before I'm just allowed to be happy, before I'm allowed to meet this universe soulmate person that God supposedly has for me? How much harder do I have to pray and manifest and wait?
Now again, there's a lot of people who responded to this by saying that this woman should go to church and that way she could meet a good church man in order to marry and all that. And based on browsing through her TikTok and listening to what she says, how often she invokes prayer, it looks like she tends to do that. It looks like she tends to be at least a more right-leaning politically person than a left-leaning person. Now granted, I'm going off of American flags in her background. I'm going off previous posts that had nothing to do with this particular video that well predate this video of her saying that she's heading to church and all of that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, even for women in that particular position, it can be difficult for them to meet somebody, just in the same way that men are oftentimes told to go to church, find themselves a good church girl, but in reality, it doesn't actually end up working in the way that a lot of people tell them. And that's why they get frustrated, because they're constantly getting all these different various pieces of advice. Now, one of the things that I would suggest, and this is something that people used to do old school, but a lot of times it happens for older couples, and I've actually seen this in my life, is have friend groups and or have family groups put together you on a date with somebody else.
All of my friends have their fiancés and their boyfriends and their husbands that they prioritize. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I've been left behind.
Because while we have romantic love, passionate love as the most important thing in our dating culture, in reality, there are more important things than that. Common goals are important. Looking to build a future together are more important. And your friends and your family oftentimes are the people who know you best. And oftentimes they're able to find someone that aligns with your values, that you might not have the spark or the romantic love or all these big emotions that she's talking about right here, right off the bat, but long term, they're a good fit. In fact, I've seen this myself. I've had not a relative, but I guess a cousin through marriage, so technically not related, be in a situation where she wanted to have a family. She was, I believe, north of 30, and her friend group found a guy that was in their extended friend group that also wanted the same thing. They met rather quickly. They were already in serious relationship mode before that they met, and they ended up having a family, getting married, and they've been married for years now. And this is based on the fact that the people who arranged this situation know you better than random people that you're going to meet, and they're better pickers than you. How many times have you seen people who give really sound relationship advice, who know what is good for other people, who give them things to avoid, red flags and all that, but when they're in a relationship, they just tolerate and accept all of these red flags. They find themselves in situations where they're clearly and obviously with somebody who's never going to take them seriously, never going to commit. And at age 28, 29, she said late 20s, I don't know the exact age for her. The fact of the matter is, she can't afford to be messing around. So if you have a group of married friends, I guarantee you that some of the guys in that friend group have a friend who is also unmarried, who is relatively decent. You should try to give that person a shot. Now, I know she's very upset about people giving her advice, but this isn't work on yourself, improve yourself, get yourself more physically fit, focus on your attraction, and all these different other tips that honestly work better for a male than a female, although obviously a physically fit woman, an attractive woman, is going to have better luck. It actually is a sound piece of advice, and you could look up the numbers. Arranged marriages tend to work longer and be less vulnerable to divorce than the way that we do marriage here, which I was going to call traditional marriage, but in reality, it's actually more traditional for you not to pick, but for your families to select a partner opposite of you.
Like, I know I have my dog, and I love him so much, but, like, I need love.
And overall, that's one of the reasons why I come down as more sympathetic for this particular woman. And by the way, I'm going to harp on this. I know I love my dog mom type of thing, because in reality, if we're being perfectly honest, a lot of people are substituting their love for their pets for the gaping hole in their hearts, what they're missing from another person. And women do this quite often. And the fact of the matter is, being a dog mom very often is not as satisfying as finding somebody to settle down with, finding somebody to marry, finding somebody to start a family with. And overall, I think that despite the way she's ranting in the car, despite the TikTok thing, despite other different various screenshots or out of context clips that people can pull from this, she's actually speaking to a truth right here. And she's speaking to something that other people should look out for, other people should understand when they're pursuing goals that they think make them more attractive, and in reality end up isolating them and making them more lonely. Because the fact of the matter is, at her age, she's probably not trying to go out to the clubs or anything like that. Based on her videos, she seems to be focused on her own personal physical fitness, and unfortunately, that is not leading to any kind of success for her. Also, we have a huge issue that a lot of these women end up meeting people at work, because people tend to meet the person they're going to date and or marry at work or in school or at any common area. But a lot of these people have switched to remote work, so it's more isolating. It's more difficult to meet those people. So now more than ever, people are to be more reliant on their overall friend group in order to find someone. But the fact of the matter is, we also have a friend crisis. But we also, again, need to circle back to the dog situation, because it's just not the same substitute. It is just not the same kind of love. Because in reality, while dogs can be great, while dogs can show you affection, it is a simple love. It is a distilled love. It is a basic, you don't abuse the dog will appreciate you. But people want something more complicated. They want something with more depth. And that's the overall message that I get from this video. And again, why I don't come down so hard on this particular woman. Now, I know some people are going to say, because they replied this to me, simp, loser, simp, oh, you're just trying to hook up with her. Again, I'm engaged, like about to be married as of this year. I don't have these problems. I talk about this because I'm interested in it and I want people to have better situations. But yeah, this is really where we're at in terms of our society. And there's a lot of people just like this woman that are out there, and it's quite unfortunate. Now, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social media, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a woman ranting about being alone. Till next time.